The city of Evanston has a long history with alcohol. It was ground zero for many prohibition movements, but now has a normalized relationship with liquor. NNN's Brandon Liebhaber joins us now to discuss his story on the history of alcohol in Evanston. Brandon, what did you learn about the city's relationship with alcohol?
Megan, I learned that it's not as adversarial as many people are led initially to believe. Yes, it did take Evanston over 120 years to serve a legal drink, and the city is still home to the Women's Christian Temperance Union. But liquor has played a big role in the city's recent history and development. Just 41 years ago, a place like this would have been illegal in Evanston. So would a place like this. It took a while for alcohol to become a normal part of life here. Evanston's dry history can be traced back to its founding, says Janet Olson, Assistant Northwestern Archivist and Volunteer Archivist for the Francis Willard Historical Association.
That was Northwestern's fault. The fault of the founders, good Methodists that they were. They added an amendment to the charter which said that no liquor could be sold within 4 miles of the university.
Evanston attracted progressive Methodists like the Willard family who moved into this house in 1865. Francis Willard was the second president of the Women's Christian Temperance Union, which fought against the social ill of alcohol among many other causes. Evanston's dry status made it a natural home for the Prohibition movement.
Evanston was dry before the WCTU. The WCTU fitted in here neatly, and Willard happened to live here.
The city of Evanston is well known for its role in the passage of Prohibition in 1919. The 18th Amendment's repeal in 1933 was big news to the South and Chicago, but it didn't even merit a headline in the Daily Northwestern. Evanston's dry status was presumed until the 1960s. Businesses were struggling, says former Evanston Mayor and Liquor Commissioner Jay Lytle.
Downtown Evanston at after 5 o'clock, you could shoot a cannon down Orrington or Davis or Church Street. The economic health of the town was troubled.
In 1972, the Evanston City Council granted its first liquor licenses to a pair of downtown hotels. But change was slow. Alcohol was only allowed in restaurants. You had to take the L to get to a bar. Assistant Northwestern Professor Charles Whitaker attended the school from 1976 to 1981 and says that students were well aware of the city's history.
They were so convinced that Evanston was this straight-laced, uptight, community that wouldn't allow any fun. It was the place where fun went to die.
Evanston didn't grant a license to a liquor store until the aptly named Evanston First Liquors opened in 1984. Bars became legal after that. Alcohol helped attract the businesses that fill downtown streets today.
It's been a real boon to us from an economic development standpoint. And if you look at, the high rises we have and the vitality of Evanston, I would attribute a good majority of that to the ability to have a drink with dinner.
But not all of the effects have been good. The Keg of Evanston, which could not be reached for comment, has had its liquor license temporarily revoked 3 times since 2006 for a variety of incidents, including a shooting.
That was the kind of thing that would cause people not to want to have additional alcohol selling establishments. And you could point to it and say, see, that's what happens.
The Keg might be an anomaly, but the city's history does have some bearing on people's attitudes and reactions to alcohol. Paul Holetko got some surprise responses when he asked the city to approve a distillery.
I think a lot of people thought I was joking.
Few Spirits is Evanston's first and only distillery. When it opened in 2011, it produced the first legal drop of alcohol in Evanston's history. Holetko had to work with the city for over a year to change regulations before opening, but he did not receive a single no vote.
The city's been a fantastic partner almost from day one. The city's been very excited. They recognize the opportunities that are here, and they're eager to help capitalize on it.
Holetko says it's a coincidence, but few bears the initials of Francis Elizabeth Willard. His business makes alcohol in the so-called home of Prohibition, and for the first time ever, nothing about that is surprising. Paul Holetko won't be making the only legal alcohol in Evanston for long. Smiley Brothers Restaurant and Brewery is set to open on Oak Avenue this fall and will serve a variety of craft beers brewed in-house.
Brandon, it seems like Evanston has changed a lot with regard to alcohol, but did you still see any remnants of the city's past in your reporting?
I actually did, but it wasn't the way that I thought I would see it, Megan. I thought that I would see the city maybe against alcohol. The city is fine with people selling alcohol, but the laws governing it are still extremely complex. There's a long process you have to go through to get a liquor license. There are a lot of different liquor licenses you can get through. And you heard Paul Holetko in the story. The city wanted him to open the distillery. It still took him over a year to change city ordinances just to make that distillery legal. And another weird quirk I saw, I went to World of Beer, a new bar that opened on Sherman Avenue in downtown Evanston. By law in Evanston, bars have to serve food, so they have a very small menu. They serve just 7 items, and they're one of just 6 of 36 nationwide World of Beer locations that serve food because of that law in Evanston. So I wouldn't say that the city's against alcohol, but you definitely see some remnants of the past because of laws that might seem antiquated in today's time.
Now, what was the most interesting thing you learned?
I learned a lot of interesting things, and I think I touched on this a little bit. It's the fact that the relationship isn't as adversarial as I thought. I think when you look at things that have happened in the past with the Keg temporarily losing their liquor license last year, the idea is that Evanston is the place that Charles Whitaker was talking about in the piece, where fun goes to die. The city's not against alcohol. The city's actually been altered by alcohol, and that was what was most interesting to me. The Evanston that we see today, that's now a destination with all those shops and restaurants in downtown, hasn't always been that way, and it really coincides with the selling of liquor and the tax revenue that's come with that. And that's what surprised me the most, is that alcohol has been so beneficial to the city of Evanston, and that Evanston isn't against alcohol, it's just against people breaking the rules, as any city would be.
All right, thanks for your reporting, Brandon.